Welcome, everybody, to the Tuesday Best Bet Show, the early read right here on the Forward Progress YouTube channel. We are also presented by FanDuel. I'm your host, G-Stack George. I'm pumped because this is my finale with my friend on Tuesday, my partner in crime, Mr. Christopher Dierkes. Flup, how are you, my friend?
Good. How are you?
Doing well. This is your last stream, my friend. The next 2 Thursdays, it just so happened to be Christmas and New Year's, and Rob and the team doesn't want to work on Christmas and New Year's, and I don't blame them. So they're going to join me on Tuesday, and it'll be myself, Rob, and Austin next week. Flup, I'm looking forward to this, man. Let's go out with a bang. I sense you're going to have a big week to finish everything off.
I think so too. I suspect I will go 3-0 here.
I would love to see it. Clive almost pulled off that trick. He was the third member of the team last week, but technically my second member. We'll recap the results last week just to remind you how we're doing on the year, how Clive DA and I did last week. I lost my triple hammer with the Miami Dolphins, won my double and single hammer on a couple of overs, bringing me to 24-17-1 on the season. Clive won his triple and double hammer, lost his single hammer on his team. You see, the homer plays cost us a perfect weekend. It ends the third member with a 12-12 record, bringing us up on the season to 51-50-1, minus 3.5% ROI. Flup, we're going to close the chapter with you this week, and I'm excited, man. We got to end it off strong. You know, when Zilbo went to Bet Bash, his baseball routine got thrown off. And when you started with no vig, your routine, that's when you had that 3 bagels in a row. If we eliminate just the transition period for you, you've been very consistent all year, Flup.
I like that. I think we should also only count my wins and discount my losses, and I would have a perfect undefeated season.
Especially on like stuff you got like good CLV on that loss. That shouldn't.
Yeah. So I think the classic grading as a tout is if you bet it and it was winning at any point in the game, it counts as a win. So that means any underdog that I start out as an auto win, any bet that I got CLV auto win, any bet that it moved against me and I lost, those are the only things I can lose. Everything else is a win.
Listen, I'm with you, man. You had a whole field goal of like CLV on one game and lost. It was unfair. A couple of the comments saying you got soft bench last week, Flup. I like to see it as keeping you fresh for the most important week. As always, you guys are just as big a part of the show. Drop your plays in the chat. I would love to hear what you guys are on. You guys have been a great audience. Let's start off, Flup, though, with the Thursday night football banger game. This might just be for the number 1 seed in the NFC. LA Rams at Seattle. Right now, FanDuel has minus 1.5 for the Rams, plus 100. Totals 44.5, shade of 118 to the under. Flup, why don't you lead us off here because you've got a play that you're looking at.
Yeah, this is I think the Seahawks were pretty embarrassed by Grandpa Phil almost beating them last week. And off of a short week, I think Mike Macdonald has transformed into a top 5 coach easily. McVay is obviously a top 5 coach as well. It'll be a great coaching matchup, but give me the home team on a bye as a pick 'em. I don't think the Rams are this much better than the Seahawks. It's really, I think Mike Macdonald is good enough to match McVay, and it's a defensive genius versus an offensive genius. I trust Macdonald here. That's really simply what it boils down to. Yeah, I'm not thrilled that I'm backing Darnold as my QB here, but I'm going to pretend that he's not the quarterback, and I'm actually backing JSN as, a future most likely offensive player of the year.
Well, you know what? I'm going to assume you knew about the Devontae Adams is likely not playing, right? To make your play even stronger.
Of course I knew that.
Yeah, of course you knew that. This is funny. This is the player of the year game, right? Because JSN's the leader. And it looks like Puka's going to get spammed the next 3 weeks. So it's kind of going to be interesting. A couple of things for me. Flup, do you remember a month and a half ago we asked the question, how many teams are definitively better than the Rams? Yeah. Turns out the answer was 0.
Yeah, it is clearly 0 right now. No team is better than the Rams. I'm not saying Seahawks are better than the Rams. I do not think that, to be clear.
Good spot. And I wonder how big the Devontae Adams injury will be, but there's a couple other sneaky injuries. Braden Fisk, defensive tackle for the Rams, didn't practice yesterday. Paul Cross, the offensive tackle for Seattle. I know
My model says Devontae is worth 1.3482 points exactly, so we'll go with that.
there's a lot of points. I think they're going to spam Puka. Not sure how well that will work against a really good defense that generates pressure without sending blitzes. There's going to be a lot of congested pass lanes. I think the Rams go to much more heavy personnel. We saw a lot of like 2 and 3 tight end sets. Colby Parkinson was a weapon last week. It was awesome to see. On the other side of the ball, it feels like the Seahawks offense has not been good in a while. First 10 weeks of the year, Seahawks are 10th in EPA per play. Last 5 weeks, they're down to 19th in EPA per play. I don't know how Seattle's going to fare against the Rams defense. They have interior O-line issues, but Braden Fisk might be a really big injury. For me, it's going to be raining a lot. I could easily see both defenses succeeding. Nothing for me yet. I was looking potentially at the under, but truly have nothing yet on this game. But listen, maybe one of the markets that you want to attack is the touchdown market. And FanDuel's making Week 16 even bigger with a chance to win a share of $2 million in bonus bets this Thursday night. That's right, $2 million. Here's how it works. Opt in and place an anytime touchdown bet on the Rams or the Seahawks. Use your profit boost. And if the player scores either the first or the last touchdown of the game, you'll earn a share of $2 million in bonus bets, $1 million for each touchdown. I'm going to be working the Thursday Night Football watch along. We'll be giving you some touchdown scores. It's just one more reason to bet on the NFL with FanDuel. So whether you've got a feeling about that opening drive or you're banking on a clutch finish, now's the time to get on the game. Visit FanDuel.com/forwardprogress to download the app today and get started. FanDuel is an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Must be 21 and present in select states for Kansas in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino. 19 and physically located in Ontario. 18 and present in D.C., Kentucky, or Wyoming. Opt-in. Must apply profit boost token on select market. Prize pool to be split equally among all eligible participants who made the correct first or last touchdown pick. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 21 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit fanduel.com/RG. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts or call 1-877-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. Call Connects Ontario at 1-866-531-2600 or visit connectsontario.ca. Now, Flup, I'm excited because we have 2 Saturday games. We're going to save them for the end of the show just in case we get maybe some more injury news that comes in the midst of the show. So we'll start with a big game, Chargers-Dallas. It's kind of funny, Flup. We started to get some Dallas money again, even though they didn't look good on Sunday Night Football. I'll start off. I didn't love what I saw from Dallas last week. Dak was under pressure all game. They were already down with their left tackle, Tyler Guyton. And then they lose their backup left tackle, Nate Thomas, in the game in like the fourth quarter. It was really bad. Hakeem Adeniji had to step in. And for those who remember, he was the turnstile that played in the Cincy Rams Super Bowl where he was getting turned inside out when he was a guard. Quinnen Williams is going to be an interesting injury to monitor. He was getting concussion checked for the Cowboys. Let's start with the Cowboys offense, though, Flup. Their run game is progressively getting worse each week. Like they once upon a time were like top 3 run game. They've like fallen down to 10th and they've been closer to middle of the pack basically for about a month and a half now. I also don't like how George Pickens has looked the last couple of weeks. I don't know if teams have taken him out, he's hurt, or he's become disinterested, but it's not been good. They play a Chargers pass defense, which is top 5 in both drop back EPA and success rate. They also forced Mahomes into mistakes, Jalen Hurts into mistakes. It's a really good defense, like maybe one of the top 5 defenses in football.
Can we pause a second? I do want to. Could you just can I make sure that you're right on what the Chargers injuries is right now?
Yeah.
Because I hear what you're saying. I was actually a little shocked to see this line get out to Cowboys -2, 2.5 in some spots. It sounds as if they're saying that the Chargers and Cowboys are priced equally, which I found a little bit shocking, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I am closer to like 1 in this game. The injuries So for the Chargers, it's Quentin Johnston, one of their receivers, didn't play last week, and Trey Pipkins, their tackle. And for the Cowboys, we're monitoring both their tackles and Quinnen Williams. Yeah, honestly, I'm surprised we saw a Dallas move, especially because it's like the deflation game, right? Now that you're basically eliminated.
Well, actually, another question I was going to ask is, I mean, look, the Eagles are priced right now about minus 250 DVIG on Moneyline Fair. Like, they're going to win around 70% of the time or so. If they do win, do we see a little Chargers money come in? Because, like, now the deflation is 100% official. I mean, they still hold on the sliver of hope if the Eagles lose out and they win out, they can make it. But
it reminds me of a couple years ago, the Sunday Nighter was Green Bay and Detroit. And Detroit was mathematically eliminated by the Sunday Nighter in the Week 18, and money came in on Green Bay. But Detroit,
I remember that. But that's way different because
it's Dan Campbell too.
Yeah, Dan Campbell is like such a different beast in that regard. Like, he never plays defeated or quit.
Yeah, listen, I'm not gonna lie. I don't know how to handicap motivation. I don't know what's in the Dallas locker room, truly. But just from like a matchup perspective, there's nothing standing out for me. At 3, I'd be very interested in the Chargers. I was tempted at the under, but I don't know that after seeing Dallas's defense kind of revert back to its old form the last 2 weeks, I kind of stayed away. But your thinking is maybe watch what Saturday happens. Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I think I like in my gut tells me that Chargers is good here, and I'll probably if the Eagles win, I'll probably use it as an excuse to fire if I want some action. Like, oh, it's got to be good now. They're demotivated, but we'll see.
Well,
I don't buy this Chargers team being only equal to this Cowboys team. I mean, their defense is horrible. Yes, I know the Chargers offense is better than the Cowboys defense, but it's still Herbert. Like, you still have Herbert.
Yeah, listen, I think you're right. I have it. I have Chargers better on a neutral, but I have it closer to 1 Dallas on being at home. Let's move on to Minnesota and the New York Giants. Right now, FanDuel has Minnesota minus 2.5, minus 122, totals 43.5, shaded 115 to the over. Vikings are a very hard team for me to price. There was like back-to-back weeks where I gave them out as a triple hammer and I lost. I faded them last week and I lost. McCarthy has admittedly played better, albeit against Washington and like a couple soft defenses. Dallas, which is what the Giants are, is another soft defense. I don't know how he'll look with both offensive tackles potentially out this week. Let's start with the offense, though. 5th in rush success rate, going up against the 32nd ranked run defense in both EPA per play and defensive rush success rate. Despite the names on the Giants D-line, they also just like middle of the packet generating pressure. On the other side of the ball, the real question is, like, how does Jackson Dart deal with the blitz that's coming from Brian Flores? So far this year, it's kind of been like he rides the wave of the blitz. He's like 3% better completion percentage, almost a yard higher yards per attempt. His touchdown rate's higher as well, but 3 of his 4 picks this year have come against the blitz. He's a very instinctual, like reactionary QB who isn't afraid to take some shots when he's blitzed, but that also increases the risk. I think the real story is, despite losing Scatabo, Tyrone Tracy's been pretty good at running the ball. They might find success against a bottom 10 run defense in the Vikings. But given how poorly I've priced the Vikings games this year, I haven't done anything with this game yet. Flop, this line got to 3. Are you surprised we're seeing 3s in market? Or
no, mostly because this is now getting to the gritty of, is the owner talking to the coach like, hey, we got to lose some games for some draft picks? I mean, the Giants are. I mean, I think that has to actually. I think that has to really matter a lot here. Maybe people think I'm just like crazy, like conspiracy theorist, but we saw. I distinctly remember a couple years ago, the Eagles like took a ton of money against at near post, and albeit that was week 18. But regardless, another thing that I think is a factor here, and another reason why I'm not surprised, is McCarthy has changed people's opinions of him. I think 5 weeks ago, I think people thought, like, is McCarthy a literal dumpster fire? Is he a trash bag that is QB like 60 in the league? Is he even top 64? And now I think it's like, okay, maybe McCarthy's a fringe starter. Like maybe he's a top 32. And that does matter in the, in the rankings here. So, and how much points he's at moving the spread. So I think those two factors is why I'm not really shocked to see Vikings take a lot of money here and why them out to 3.
Yeah, and we got to remind ourselves, like, McCarthy's like 8 games into his career. So, like, as much as we like priors, we still don't know what the projection is. Flop, before we get out of here,
I just want to shout out, someone has said I have an above average IQ in the chat. I'm honored to have that recommendation. I appreciate that. Sorry, continue.
You're a little smarter than above average, Flop. All right, how about this one, Flop? One time before you go away on Tuesdays, let's do one collaboration. Okay, Buffalo at Cleveland. Buffalo right now is favored 10.5 plus 100 at FanDuel. Totals 42.5, shaded 112 to the under. I'll start off because it is my double hammer. I think this, like, let me just go down, let me do a basic handicap for you, Flop. Let me dumb down my IQ for a second. This might literally be the best QB in football versus the worst QB in football. Let's start off with the Bills. Off a huge comeback win against Patriots. A lot of people will reference them coming out flat off that emotional performance. I try to stay away from the motivational handicapping that others do. I also know that the Bills can't afford to drop a game. If they're going to catch the Patriots, they have to run the table. Offensively, I think the Bills can move the ball on the Browns, especially if Denzel Ward isn't back. The Bills quite literally can run the ball on seemingly anyone, and throwing the ball with Josh, who's also now using his legs and has become an infinitely bigger threat. On the other side of the ball, Shedeur Sanders is the worst quarterback in football. He took a sack on a play that took nearly 8 seconds to develop. I don't care. It's just inexcusable how long he holds on to the ball. Putting up 3 points on a bad Bears defense is insane. The O-line's very banged up right now. Also, listen, we'll have to see who returns for them. But even though the Bills can't stop the run, I don't like Judkins hasn't been this efficient runner. And I don't know that Cleveland's going to move the ball on a down by down basis. My question is, do I trust the Cleveland Browns to get stops on Josh Allen and keep up with him? The answer to no is both. And one day, Josh Allen is going to be a Super Bowl winning quarterback in the Hall of Fame. And I'm going to wonder why I didn't put a hammer play out on him playing a guy who's probably going to be out of the league in 2 years. So Buffalo minus 10.5 plus 100 is my double hammer, Flop.
I liked it as well. I'm going to steal all of that and also throw in the fact that I'm taking them in Survivor, and I am the biggest luck box in all of gambling, Twitter and X. So they're definitely a lock, and that means they're more likely to win and cover the spread. So by nature of them increased likelihood of winning the game due to my Survivor pick, that means they're more likely to cover the spread. So easy Buffalo minus 10.5 for me.
I will take it. Timmy says George Sanders isn't even the worst QB on the Browns. I'm talking about starters, Timmy. I don't want to start ranking backups because I don't even want to begin to know what Brady Cook is worth and all these guys. I'm just talking about starting quarterbacks in the NFL.
George, what price, if I gave you 10-1 that next year Shedeur looks like a top 20 quarterback, would you take it 10-1?
No, because I don't even think he's going to start next year. I think the Browns are going to draft a new quarterback, and Shedeur is gonzo as the idea of being a starter, to be honest.
Fair.
Let's move on to Jets and New Orleans. Maybe the New Orleans Saints have a franchise quarterback. Tyler Shuck, he's like the everybody likes talking about him lately. Right now, New Orleans is favored by 4.5 minus 105 at FanDuel. Totals 40.5 minus 112 to the under. Flup, this game is interesting from a line perspective because I priced this game right now at Taylor. I think it's a fair price with Taylor and Fields in. But if they're both ruled out, this is a very wrong price. I think this line should be closer to 6.5, 7 if it's Brady Cook. I don't love Devin Neal getting hurt and Devon Vele, who's not going to play. But Jets secondary has been decimated this year. They put another corner on the IR yesterday. That's their third of the year. Not to mention, they also traded away 2 corners in Sauce and Carter. One of their cornerbacks got shot. Literally, the number 2 and number 3 corners in this game for the Jets have played 119 snaps and 60 snaps defensively. That's the equivalent of 1 game and 2 games flip. Saints offense hasn't been great, but I think Shuck's done just enough and shown some flashes. They get a Jets defense that at first was like snake bit by a lack of turnovers, but now it just feels they're very thin on talent. I'm not sure that firing Steve Wilkes will change anything. I think this is a game where Chris Olave can eat. On the other side of the ball, maybe no Mason Taylor. Brady Cook, I didn't think looked great. The one thing the Jets do not do bad is they run the ball pretty good, but they play a Saints defense that's top 10 against the run, 7th in defensive rush EPA. I went from not betting the Saints for the first 9 weeks flop to I've bet them 4 of the last 6 weeks, including this game.
Is that mostly because of Shuck?
I think the Saints got undervalued, and I think Shuck was a little bit better than people anticipated. Plus, like, they had a couple spots against the Panthers where they were like a field goal dog and a 5.5 point dog, and the Dolphins were laying 6 on them, and it's like, I don't know. The Saints aren't that bad to be like teams laying more than a field goal.
Who do you think the better quarterback is, Shuck or Fields? If Fields starts,
Shuck, no question.
Okay, I figured as much. No, I think you're unfortunately right here. It's crazy to say that like Justin Fields moves the line that much over Brady Cook, but Brady Cook is very bad. I mean, there's a reason why he's an undrafted rookie. So yeah, I think unfortunately you're right. It's going to depend on those injury. The fact that you think it goes to 6.5, 7 tells me, and there hasn't been much action, tells me that it's very likely that Fields is in and Taylor is in.
We'll see. They were like DNPs, and Flip. Something tells me that the coach has already been cleared as being like in next year. I don't want to suspect tanking, but I don't know that.
Wait. Glenn has been. Did I miss this?
Yeah, they basically gave him a vote of confidence about a month ago. So that's what leads me to believe.
No. How did I miss this? This can't be real. You have to be fucking with me.
Listen, what's the bigger nightmare? Dolphins returning Tua next year for me, or Aaron Glenn returning for you? I don't know. I think neither of us want that.
I mean, Tua doesn't even matter because you got to eat his contract anyway. So it's like you're kind of fucked regardless. But like Glenn, like he doesn't even count against the cap. Just get rid of him. Who gives a fuck? What the hell? I can't believe we're gonna go back with. God, this is so tilting. How did I miss this?
I've ruined your day, haven't I? All right. You never know. Listen, Woody Johnson is a maniac, right? So, 2 years, was it 5 years ago? He was in the president's cabinet while he was an active NFL owner. So hard to predict what Woody Johnson,
for real,
what he does. Okay, let's move on to Tampa Bay, Carolina. Right now, Tampa's -3 flat, 45.5, shade of 118 to the under. Flup, after you declared your love for Baker, he has been a bottom 5 quarterback for 2 months now. That being said, he didn't look bad last Thursday.
I think, to be fair, I think a lot of that was injury. I mean, he was clearly playing through injury. I think he had a shoulder and stuff like he had clearly an injury. He's been injured for quite a while.
Yeah, he was dealing with some stuff. I thought the offense didn't have that many scary weapons. Listen, they look good though. Evans caught some deep balls. Jalen McMillan got tackled at the 1. He looked like he was going to get the first touchdown of the game. They play a Carolina defense that's like kind of middle of the pack, but has moments where they play a lot better and a lot worse. Problem is they don't generate a consistent pass rush. They're dead last in pressure rate. On the other side of the ball, we've seen what happens when you can take away Carolina's run game, something Tampa still does quite well. Both Tampa lost Zion McCollum, one of their corners, to the IR this week. I think Carolina's going to go with a higher pass rate over expected. Maybe they start spamming like screen passes to the running backs. I'll be honest, my numbers show thin value on the Panthers here, but I'm not sure what to make of this game yet. So I haven't done anything yet. I'm wondering if you think that 3 will hold up, or you think there will be some Carolina.
The eager effect. No, I think the 3 will clearly hold. I mean, it opened at 2.5, and it got bet straight to 3. I mean, FanDuel opened. Looks like they opened at 2.5 -118, and and it didn't take long at all to get to 3, and there was 3 -05, and now it's a 3 -10 for Tampa Bay. So I think we're actually more likely to see 3.5 than to go back to 2.5 at this point.
Yeah, interesting to note, Flup. A lot of people in the comments saying, "Listen, his oblique is clearly cooked. He missed a lot of open throws." And listen, it's clearly he's not been the same. He went from MVP level to he's barely, he's one of the worst quarterbacks in football. So it's gonna be interesting. Tampa Bay, Carolina is such a high leverage spot for the division. Listen, if you're enjoying
the toilet bowl division thing, sorry, Eric Eager.
The loser gets the honor. The winner of the division gets the honor of losing to the Rams or Seattle in the first round of the playoffs. Listen, if you're enjoying the stream, please like and subscribe. This is the last chance to see Flup on Tuesday, Best Bet Show. Please like for Flup for all the great job he's done this year. We're so close to a milestone. We are closing in on 10,000 subscribers. If you're listening right now and aren't subscribed, please do so. We'd like to hit that goal by the end of 2025. I know it's a little bit of a optimistic goal, but you never know what kind of momentum we can get. And I appreciate everything. Let's move on to Cincinnati, Miami. Flup. Cincinnati -2.5, -110, totals 50.5. It's funny, we got news at a presser that McDaniel basically didn't guarantee that Tua gets his job, gets to keep his job. The market reacted to that, went to 2.5, didn't go to 3. I wonder if Tua goes out, does it get to
I think Zach Wilson is horrible.
That's my question. Does it get to the 3 or past the 3?
Oh, gotta be. There is no universe where people think that Zach Wilson only moves the line from 2.5 to 3.5, or 2.5 to 3 compared to 2 is not good by any stretch. But I think 2 is pretty clearly a top 32 quarterback. I don't know if Zach Wilson's even a top 64 quarterback. Zach Wilson, horrible. He sucks. I hate him. I saw him so often in the Jets. I'm glad on him. He's super rich now and he made a lot of money, but he's awful. So this should I would make this closer to 4.5. I mean, he's got to be at least 3.5 to 5 points downgrade over Tua. I don't see how people could think he's less than that.
Yeah, listen, I'm not gonna talk about because I don't know yet if Tua's gonna play. I will say a couple things. Cincy probably moves the ball through the air. Like, I'm not sure if T. Higgins is back, but Dolphins are 30th in defensive dropback success rate. On the other side of the ball, two things. The Dolphins also will be without safety Minkah Fitzpatrick, which is quite a big injury. Flup, I was looking on PFF at the Cincinnati linebacking core. There's 88 qualifying linebackers at PFF. And the Bengals' 3 starting linebackers are literally the 86th, 87th, and 88th ranked linebackers out of 88. The 3 worst guys in football. Devin Achane, if they don't run this guy 30 times and give him 17 screen passes, what are we even doing here? Yeah. I can't get involved though. There's nothing.
By the way, I saw in the chat. What's the line with Urs? Urs, I would take over Zach Wilson for a franchise because I think he's got more upside. But I think for game 1, how many snaps has Urs even had in the NFL? Not that many, right? I mean, you have to consider him worse than Zach right now.
Oh, I don't even want to pretend like a 5th round rookie QB who hasn't
7th round.
Seventh round. Yeah, I don't even want to pretend like I have a value on that guy.
Yeah.
Probably not very good. Well, here's a team that had a really good quarterback and they lost him. Kansas City at Tennessee right now. Kansas City -3.5, -104. Totals 37.5 flat. Flup. No Mahomes. Market downgrade.
Right, I'm slightly pivoting my this is I have a triple hammer on this play, but I'm slightly pivoting on it.
Okay.
So this is one of my favorite spots where I can just spout nonsense and it kind of sounds sharp. The Chiefs are just so demotivated because they just got eliminated from the playoffs. They're obviously franchise quarterback, arguably the QB1 in the NFL, just got injured. The whole team is demoralized. Kelsey is old. Everyone's sad. You know, they want to get to Cancun ASAP. This is just a give up spot. Play the variance here. Let's go with either Titans money line or even go more aggressive and Titans alt spread -3.5. I initially had Titans +3.5, but I think Titans money line, and the Titans money line is I think not even that good of a price in market, but who gives a shit? You're getting this is how I get back. I'm down a lot of units. This is how you get it back. Actually, if we can make the official play minus like 6.5 at like 3.5 to 1 to 4, just to get let's get some units back. This is how the touts do it. You martingale it up.
I will tell you right now. Titans -6.5 +320. Is that what we're going with? Triple hammer.
Perfect.
Are you trying to win 9 units in one play club?
Yes.
All right. Tennessee -6.5 +320. Listen, Flop, you might as well run the variance train because every week there's a puzzle to solve. Last week it was like, what's Rivers worth?
Yes.
What's Rivers worth? This week's puzzle is what's Mahomes worth? What is Minshew behind that O-line that might have nobody back worth? And what is the Titans losing all 3 safeties?
And you know,
I don't know.
I was actually discussing this a lot with a good friend of mine. You know, actually, Mr. Peanut Butter. This concept related to this. This is actually somewhat serious. I know I was trolling a little bit earlier, but you know, this isn't related to college football. We were talking about like, hey, how much does motivation matter? Or a coach says he's not trying for the game because next week is important. And how much does that impact the spread? And I said, oh, that doesn't matter. These are professionals, or like, you know, the kids are trying out for the NFL, and in the NFL here, it's like they're professionals are trying to win. But I think it does matter because Andy Reid might have some niche plays or some like trick plays or some plays that he would only call in like specific spots, but he might not want to showcase them or run a more vanilla offense to not give anyone to prep over the offseason for games that don't matter. That has to matter a few points against the spread here. You obviously Reid is a very elite play caller. Why would he give anything important away in these games? Save it till next year. Just save it to next year when you have Mahomes. Who gives a shit? So that probably does matter a little bit against the spread too. And what did this line open as a look ahead? Was it 13.5 or 11.5? Let me double check.
Yeah, it was 11s, 12. Yeah,
I don't honestly 11.5. Yeah, I know Mahomes is. I know 8's a lot, but isn't Mahomes better than worth 8 points? I mean, he's really fucking good. Like, and plus when you factor in motivation and everything like that, like I don't know, man. Like, I think this is good, and this is a spot where it gets blown up, and so Cam Ward, he takes it down.
Let me play into your conspiracy a little, okay? They'll never have a better pick in the draft with Mahomes. This is it. This is the year. You might as well lose the next 3 and get the 12th overall pick or 10th overall pick.
Yes.
Right? This is it's like you know, there's a serious question. Phil Gnarly wants to know, is this a official 10 hammer play to try to win 32 units?
I'm going to try another tactic here, okay? This is a 10 unit lean. So if I win, I want an accounting for my record, and if it loses, it was a 1 unit, and the 10 units is not counting against my record. That's how the touts do it. That's how I'm doing it.
Okay, not to step all over the motivation talk. Let me just add a little bit of some data to the equation. I think the Titans defense has gotten better. First 9 weeks of the year, Flep, they're 29th in defensive EPA per play, like bottom 4 defense. They're not that much better, but since like all their defensive linemen came back, 24th in defensive EPA per play. And they're also running they stopped the run well, like 7th in defensive rush success rate. I don't know what to make of this game. Nothing for me here, but let's get into a game where actually 2 teams have a lot to play for. I know Denver has a shot at the 1 seed, but so does Jacksonville. But
I saw the odds of that. I was like, whoa, I didn't realize Jacksonville saw into it. That's crazy.
Listen, they play Indy and Tennessee the last 2 weeks. If they get this win, they theoretically could run the table. But Jacksonville at Denver right now, Denver is -3, -115 at FanDuel. Total's 45.5 flat. Flup, I gave away the Denver over last week. I thought, you know, part of it is like Denver's defense is overrated. I think Bo Nix played really well last week. It's interesting because so much of what Denver does well is run the ball in deep shots. Problem is the Jags are really good at taking away the run this year. 5th in defensive rush EPA, 2nd in defensive rush success rate. RJ Harvey is also banged up. I'm curious if the run game is not there, how Bo Nix might fare. On the other side of the ball, I pulled the data of like what the Jags offense has done since Jacoby Myers arrived and since Brenton Strange came back from the IR. So Flup, before Jacoby Myers, the Jags are 21st in EPA per play, 20th in success rate, 24th in dropback EPA, 28th in dropback success rate. Since they acquired everybody, they're now 6th in dropback EPA and 3rd in dropback success rate. Like Lawrence looks like every bit of that franchise guy. I know part of it is competition, and Denver will be a much better test. But I think Denver's a bit overrated defensively, and I think there's a clear skew when Denver plays a capable offense and a bad one. I have thought about the Jacksonville +3, but I believe there's a chance it goes to 3.5, so I'm not going to rush in here. I also have looked at the total 45.5, but I feel a lot better if it was 45. Curious your thoughts on this game, where the market might go.
That's a tough one. I mean, this is a game where like you can see some real back and forth action here. Just looking at like what the initial been like, it got up to 3.5, then immediately bought back down on like, you know, just checking penny here.
Some of the other spots leaning that way again. Like it feels like there's going to be moments where it gets. I think there's going to be entry. Don't time this thing wrong. Don't take Jacksonville +3. I think there's a shot at it.
No, I agree. I think this is one of these spots where like if you can't get a Jacksonville +3.5 at worst case -115, or you can't get a Denver -3 -110, hang it up. Like you were shitty better, because like you need to get one of those two there. So I don't know what side, like I don't have any strong leans, but if you do, you need to be getting those numbers or better.
Yeah, as far as injuries, Denver put Brandon Jones on the IR. RJ Harvey's the one to watch. Bayshell Tutin's out for the Jags, and Walker Little's the other one to watch, but maybe Denver might be getting their guard Ben Powers back from the IR. Let's move on to Atlanta, Arizona. Flop right now. Atlanta's 2.5 -115. Total is 47.5, shade of 115 to the over. It feels like the last month and a half, Flop, where like on Tuesday we can't break down an Arizona game because we don't know who's going to be back from injury. They quite literally have an entire O-line injured, 2 safeties, a corner, a linebacker. But let's talk about Atlanta. They have so many good matchup advantages offensively in this game. Cousins seemingly has found something with Kyle Pitts and Sills, and maybe with like 10 days in between, they can get London back. They go against a Cardinals defense that's 31st in defensive dropback success rate. Bijan Robinson also probably has success against a bad Arizona run D. On the other side of the ball, the Cardinals being down 4 O-linemen against Atlanta team that's top 10 in pass rush and blitzes a ton is interesting. Brissett somehow keeps slinging it though. Like against Houston, garbage time, he's like the over king. The guy keeps throwing the ball, and Flup, all the money seemingly has come in on the over here. This thing got pushed up like through some key numbers here. I don't know. There's nothing I can do because I want to see some of the Arizona injuries. I want to see Drake London, but I'm curious if you've got a look here.
This is just a garbage game. I mean, this is miserable. I mean, based on the way the market's going, I think it's actually possible we get 3. But I think if we get 3, I think we can see immediate Arizona money.
It depends on like if like Atlanta gets Drake London back and Arizona's missing everybody still. We might never see the buyback. It might land at the 3 just because Drake London's pretty big key there, and Atlanta's offense looked pretty good last week. Yeah, if you have no more thoughts, let's move on to Pittsburgh and Detroit. Right now, Detroit is 6.5 -120 at FanDuel. The total is 51.5, which is such a big number, but that's the kind of games that Detroit and Pittsburgh play lately. Tough to say, Flup, injury-wise for Detroit. Looks like, Kirby Joseph might be done for the year. Thomas Harper, their third safety, because Brian Branch went down. He didn't play last week. On the Steelers side of the ball, TJ Watt looks like he's done for the year. Nick Herbig gets hurt last week, but they also lose an offensive lineman, Isaac Suuma. I shouldn't say last week. It was last night, basically. The Dolphins stupidly decided not to attack Pittsburgh's run defense. I don't think that's going to be a problem with Dan Campbell. I think he's going to. Lions are 8th in rush EPA going against a defense that's 28th in defensive rush EPA. I also think there's a big mismatch in the passing game with like the quick Amon-Ra and a fast Jameson Williams against an older, slower secondary in Pittsburgh. On the other side of the ball, Rodgers in the offense has looked not bad the last couple weeks. Suddenly they've realized Darnell Washington is a weapon in the pass game. It's been great to watch. I don't know. I kind of think the line is perfect for me. I don't have too much of an edge here. I'm curious what the chat thinks, and I'm curious what you think.
What does the chat think, first of all? That's what I want to know first before
You're a guy who needs more. You're a market guy. You need information to come in.
Exactly.
And then you decipher what that information means.
Yes.
Connor says he wants Pittsburgh 7.5 best bet. Luke Burrow says he wants 6.5 minus 120. Flip it. That's what it feels like it is. Like at 6.5.
Okay, so I have Connor tagged as a nincompoop, so I want the opposite side of Connor.
Wow. I love it. XS says Herbig is worth 1.25. What the hell? Whatever. This game is chaos. The show's a bit of chaos. Nothing too much for me there.
Yeah.
Las Vegas and Houston. Let's move on to that flip.
Oh God, this is going to be a great game.
Houston, 14.5 point favorites, minus 104. Totals 37.5. Shaded 115 to the over. Flip. It's starting to feel like Houston might be the best team in the AFC. And Las Vegas is the worst team in football.
Well, okay. Houston's not the best team in the AFC. The Bills are the best team in the AFC.
I said might, and Houston beat the Bills.
Oh, okay. So, wait. So, are we going? That's how we're going. Who's better now? So, I mean, come on.
Listen, when XS says the Texans will win the Super Bowl, that guy knows ball, Flip. Okay, let's actually break this game down. For Houston, their pass offense has been much better. First 7 weeks of the year, 20th in dropback EPA. Since then, they're 11th. Nico Collins, Dalton Schultz, Jaden Higgins, suddenly like they have some weapons. It feels like they should be able to move the ball through the air against a defense that's 27th in defensive dropback EPA and a team that's bottom 7 in pressure rate. I can't tell, though, Flip, if Las Vegas defense is regressing or if their offense has been so bad they keep putting the defense in tough spots. On the other side of the ball, like Las Vegas, worst offense in football, 31st in offensive EPA per play. They had the three of the worst offensive games all year against the Colts, where they put up 7 points, against the Chiefs, where they had like 7 first downs, and against the Eagles, where they put up 75 yards of offense, Flip. And now they play the best defense in football. Even if Derek Stingley doesn't play, I don't know how the Las Vegas Raiders move the ball here.
Yeah, I mean, while this game isn't the biggest spread, there's been bigger spreads during the season. I think this is the biggest money line because the total's so low and the spread is so big. This is like ridiculous. I mean, this looks like a classic, like Houston wins 28-7 or like, 30, another game like last week, 31-0 kind of thing. I don't know what the fuck they're going to do. They have nothing going for it. They're going to tank for Mendoza probably. So, yeah, nothing more to say.
Yeah, and the interesting game is next week, Flip, them and the Giants. Whoever loses gets first overall pick. So we're going to see a game where two teams are actively trying to lose. Listen, if you're enjoying Flup's last appearance on the Tuesday Best Bet show, please like and subscribe. Also, listen, if you're in the chat and you somehow are not in our Discord, what are you doing? Over 1,400 members. And you guys are sharp. I read the comments in the NFL aspect of the Discord. I enjoy it. I learn stuff by reading it legitimately. I'm not pulling anybody's leg. There's some great things in the Discord. I don't think I've seen Xshesh in the Discord, though. I don't know what's going on unless he's using a burner name. I don't know why he's the last holdout. What's it going to take Xshesh to get you in the Discord? If you haven't done it yet, though, join the Discord. Jacob's going to put the link in the comments for you guys to join. It's a great time, honestly. Let's move on. Flip, Sunday nighter, banger game. New England, Baltimore. Baltimore, 2.5 minus 122. Totals 47.5. Shaded 115 to the over. Flip, I want to start because I've got a single hammer here. I like the over 47.5 minus 115. I think it's a very interesting line. Let's start with Baltimore's offense. They've been quietly running the ball well this year, 6th in rush EPA. And since New England's lost Milton Williams, they've been atrocious defending the run. They're now 18th in defensive rush EPA. They were once seen as like Tampa Bay, the teams you couldn't run on, the fortresses. It's also concerning that they're like middle of the pack in pass defense, despite how easy a schedule of QBs they faced. Baltimore might quietly have a lot of success here. On the other side of the ball, Drake May has still been awesome. Travion has added an explosive element. And I'm hoping Mike Vrabel wakes up and stops using Ramondre Stevenson. I like the over here. It feels icky betting a Ravens over, but two teams with great quarterbacks against defenses that don't generate pressure feels like a big opportunity. And, you know, without basically burying the lead, the rest of the market seems to be at 48. So I'll take 47.5 minus 115. Flip, I'm curious your thoughts on a really good Sunday night football game.
Yeah, this is going to be great. Kind of crazy how much the Patriots have been improved over the season. I mean, I would have guessed this line would have been like minus 10 at the beginning of the season now. And a lot of that, you know, some of that is obviously Ravens getting downgraded by not playing as good and whatnot. But most of this is just Drake May's ascendant. So it's going to be a very exciting game. I don't have any major thoughts on the market. I was actually a little shocked. Like there was initial, you know, Baltimore money to move this to like a 3, but you know, okay, I know FanDuel is that, you know, minus 2.5, minus 122, which is closer to 3 at that point than 2.5. But I don't think we'll see 3.5. I think we'll just see around a 3 because, you know, it's still Lamar Jackson in the regular season and a kind of a must-win game. I mean, they'll lose this and the Steelers win one of the next two, or both the next two, they're eliminated regardless of what happens week 18. So it's tough to justify under 3, in my opinion, for the Ravens here.
Yeah, I'm sure the chat, and I can see that, listen, they're going to be interested in the Patriots. I get it. But I don't think we're encapsulating how bad the Patriots defense has been recently. I couldn't make my mind up on a side, so I ended up taking an over as my single hammer. Let's move on to the Monday Night Football game. Flup. San Fran, 6.5 point favorites, minus 104 totals, 46.5 shade of 115 to the over. Flup. I told you about pricing Phillip Rivers to start last week. I thought some traders messed up. We won't disclose from where. That being said, I'd love to break down what this is and what he's worth, and I still don't know. A lot of injuries.
No, so okay, let me hear you out. Let me speak some ball knowledge for a second here. You can laugh at me in a second, okay?
Okay.
I was telling this to a friend. This is what I think personally. That if we took like Rivers and we put him on like the Titans and we sort of swapped it out with Cam Ward, he's like maybe 6 points worse than Cam Ward because the Titans have nothing going for them and Rivers can't do shit. But if you swapped Cam Ward on the Colts for the Titans with Shane Steichen, he might be only 1 point better than Rivers because the style that they're going to run around Rivers is going to be like a lot of run heavy, a lot of quick throws where you have a good protection set and good decision making, which Rivers is going to do well on. But anything that requires like a rollout or extending the play is obviously off limits with Rivers there. So it's going to be pretty obvious what they're going to do. I mean, Jonathan Taylor is going to get fed. And Abdullah is going to get fed a little bit too. Yeah. And I don't think Rivers is going to be as bad as like people think he will be value-wise because of this specific offense versus a somewhat weak defense. But if he was in like a already bad or below average offense around him, Rivers would be unseen levels of horrible.
I'm not gonna lie, you galaxy brained me here. I when you start talking about 1 point better and 6 points better, I agree with you though. Like this Rivers, they're just gonna give the ball to Taylor a bunch and see what happens, and maybe some short stuff to Tyler Warren. San Fran, not a good defense. Truly, there's some injuries I have to watch for though. Peirsol looks like he might not play for the 49ers. Bernard Raymond. All of a sudden, if he's out too, then the Colts are down both their starting tackles. some Monday Night Football game. I haven't rushed to do anything yet. I can see why people want the over, although like a Rivers over where they're running a ton feels like a bit of an insane thing to say. I don't know. If you guys know better about this game, I'm still not pricing the Indy. I'm just enjoying the ride, Flip. I'm just enjoying watching Phillip Rivers back. And it's nice to watch him in isolation on Monday. Saturday, let's move on. There's 2 Saturday games, Flip. That's the exciting thing. First one is at 5 o'clock Eastern. I think these 2 games are, I think FanDuel's got them backwards time of the game starting. Philadelphia, Washington is the afternoon game. So the 5 o'clock Eastern. Very interesting matchup. Philly's inconsistent offense versus an awful Washington defense. Philly's 15th in EPA per play, playing a team that's 31st in defensive EPA per play. I can see Philly's, having success through the air. One thing Hurts has struggled with is playing against zone coverage. Washington uses the 11th least amount in the league. They're also 32nd in defensive drop back EPA. You can also run a ton on Washington, who's bottom 5 in defensive rush EPA, but you're probably saying to yourself, all right, so that means you might have interest in Philly. And I say, nope. I kind of like Washington. Middle of the pack in EPA per play, top 10 at running, which is exactly one of the ways to move the ball in the Eagles. I like the total, but I much prefer Washington plus 6.5 minus 110. It's my triple hammer. I think Washington still has a lot to play for. Marcus Mariota might be one of the more intriguing available quarterbacks this offseason. I don't think there's any quit in this team. And frankly, I just don't trust Philly beating anybody with margin. So give me Washington plus 6.5 minus 110 as my triple hammer. Even if it goes to 7, I think it'll be bought back right away. So I don't think we're going to get in a bad number. And I think there's a chance it closes lower than this 6.5. So I'm going with Washington. Curious your thoughts on this game, Flop.
Got nothing real to add other than go Commanders. Let's knock some people out in Survivor, and hopefully they win this Christmas versus the Cowboys. So I like hearing that you're on the right side of history.
All right. Let's fuck it. Let's ride Flop Survivor. All right. Last game of the week. Saturday night game. Green Bay at Chicago. Green Bay minus 1.5, minus 102. Totals 46.5, minus 112 to the over. Before we get in the game, Flop, I kind of wanted to just take a look at who Caleb Williams has been this year. I call him the Enigma. He's very polarizing, and depending on what you see in him, there's things you like and there's things you hate. Jacob, if you can pull up that graphic. Right now, Caleb Williams is 18th in EPA per dropback, 35th in passing success rate. That's the bad. 23rd in yards per attempt, 34th in catchable air yards rate. All bad. The good, number 1 in avoided sack rate, 10th in QB fault sack rate, 32nd in first read rate. So he goes through his progressions, 10th in explosive pass rate. I don't know, Flep. Very inconsistent. These numbers are courtesy of FTN. And listen, if you want stats like this, you got to go to ftnfantasy.com, use the code HAMMER10, get the Stats Pro, get the Stats GOAT, whichever one you like. Tons of stuff to look into. Flip, I'm curious, before we get into the game, what do you make of Caleb? Because there's the bad and then there's the really good. And
I think if we're doing it,
I can't figure out what he is.
There's a good game which, I've seen this in some videos, like the cut, extend 1 year or contract. Caleb would be the extend 1 year. I wouldn't, he's not bad. You can't cut him. He's not bad enough that you cut him, but he's not good. I would not be thrilled giving Caleb a 4-year, $160 million deal plus or something, which is going to be like the base for like a quarterback that get an extension around. Whereas someone like Drake May or Jaden Daniels, I would happily give both of them from that class next year. I think it's a little concerning that he hasn't played much better when you have Ben Johnson as your play caller. He's played good or okay, but not like good enough that makes me happy. He was supposed to be number 1 overall pick. He has Ben Johnson. He has decent weapons. What's the excuse? Why aren't you playing to that level yet? It's been a full 2 years nearly at this point. What's the excuse? So it's beginning to get a little concerning. Although Josh did take 3 years, 2 full seasons before he really evolved. So maybe that's Caleb.
I thank you for all that rage bait. I'm gonna clip it and send it to Jason
Oh God.
just to ruin his mood and like get him to start spamming you with messages. I don't know. Truly, I don't know what Caleb is. Let's talk about this game. Very interesting game. Last week, I had the Green Bay Denver game. I really thought that Green Bay's defense was overrated and was more vulnerable than it was perceived to be. This week, I find myself not as panicked at the Parsons loss as everyone else. And let me explain the caveats. Okay. It's a huge loss and the on-off splits are wide. And but I think the pendulum has swung too far as like writing Green Bay off. I still like Rashawn Gary, Lucas Van Ness, and Kingsley and Egbare as a trio. Van Ness has barely played this year, but now is healthy. I don't know. I don't think they're a bad defense. I just think they're in the same middle of the pack defense that they were. Obviously, losing Parsons hurts. But that being said, let's look at the offense side of the ball for the Packers. They go up against a defense that's so reliant on turnovers. The Bears lead the league with 30 takeaways. On a down-to-down basis, though, the Bears are 16th in defensive dropback success rate and 26th in defensive rush success rate. There's an opportunity for Green Bay to move the ball, but the problem is, Flup, and the reason I haven't bet the over is I don't know what Zach Tom and Christian Watson, their status are, so Packers might not have their tackle and receiver. On the other side of the ball, the Bears now second in rush success rate up against a defense whose weakness is playing the run. 19th in defensive rush success rate. The problem is, Flup, today's practice report, Rome Odunze and Luther Burden didn't practice, so I don't know. DJ Moore and Zacchaeus as the main receivers. Last two times these teams played, it was freezing cold. Defenses were far healthier, and they left points on the board. I like the over again, but I'm not betting it until I see some injury reports and maybe the line's going to move. I'm not sure. Haven't done anything yet, but that's kind of my direction. I'm curious if you have any thoughts here.
I wish I had more. I really don't, though.
Yeah, it's tough not having injury report this late in the year. It becomes a real puzzle to try to figure out. We'll call it there though, Flup. Let's do a recap of what we picked for everybody who's just now tuning in or maybe tuned in halfway through and missed. I took Washington plus 6.5, minus 110 as my triple hammer. Flup took Tennessee minus 6.5, plus 325. He's swinging for the fences to get out of the hole. My double hammer is Buffalo minus 10.5, plus 100. That's Flup's single hammer. And in Flup's double hammer, Seattle money line, mine's New England, Baltimore over 47.5, minus 115. That's it for us. Do me a favor, if you enjoyed the stream, smash the like button one more time. Flup, before you go away for good on the Tuesday Best Bet Show, any final thoughts of this season and any wisdom you want to leave us with?
Yes, I'm gonna throw. Okay. I think Drake May is already a top 5. Is already better than Joe Burrow. I'm gonna say that Drake May is already better than Joe Burrow.
Holy smokes, you're hot taking before you leave. I love it.
Yes.
Well, the season
and
started.
I also Drake May is the number one asset. He is more valuable right now, considering contract and age, than Josh Allen. Not saying Josh Allen, he's better than Josh Allen. I'm not saying that, to be very clear. I think Josh Allen is better. But 6 extra years at Drake May at a rookie contract is better than Josh Allen.
So, Flup, the season started week 1 with your hot take of, is Justin Fields a top 24 quarterback now? Then you went to Baker's elite, and then he fucking fell off a cliff. And now
there's a theme here. I overreact to limited information and NFL.
And now it's Drake May better than Burrow. That's not bad. Drake May is probably the most valuable player in football. A QB that's top 5 caliber on a rookie contract's the biggest advantage in football. Flup, you went around the bend and back again on your quarterback takes. I appreciate you this season, Flup. Thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure.
Do us a favor, smash the like button, drop a goodbye to Flup. Thank him for all his great analysis. And maybe throw a like for me and Jacob too. We've been around here every Tuesday as well. And honestly, thank you guys so much. It's been a wonderful day. Thank you to Jacob for producing, Flup for sharing his bets and analysis. And thank you for you, the users, with the great comments. It always keeps us going. Be back tomorrow, Hammer Daily, Jason Cooper hosting. Also Thursday, Best Bet Show, Rob, Suuma, Austin. I'll see you guys next Tuesday. I'll have 2 new co-hosts with me for the Best Bet Show. Good luck with your bets, everybody. Thanks to FanDuel, and have a great rest of your evening.